Hi, everybody. In this upcoming episode of the Dreams Unlimited Travel podcast, Kevin and I are talking about traveling to Aulani, actually planning your 2021 Hawaii and Aulani vacation. And as is the case of most of our podcasts, we record them in advance. And since this one was recorded, some new information came out. I want to make sure we include that with this show, so you have all the information you need to plan your trip accordingly. We talk about a discount that's available as of the time we recorded the podcast, but since then Disney has released a new discount. Very similar to the old discount. This one is save up to 30% on select rooms for 5-night stays at Aulani. For stays from March 12th through June 10th of 2021, and you have to book by May 28th of 2021. And pretty much the same thing, the same terms and conditions as the last promotion that ends just before this one starts. And what it is, it's your savings is dependent on the number of nights you stay. 30% for stays of 5 or more consecutive nights, 25% for stays of 4 consecutive nights, and 20% for stays of 3 consecutive nights. And again, restrictions apply as to what kind of room you can have and things like that. But one of the really great things is with this promotion, they've also released a second piece of it. And this is if you book your Disney's Aulani Resort and Vacation by January 31st of 2021, if you stay 5 or more consecutive nights, you get a $200 resort credit. If you stay 4 consecutive nights, you get a $150 resort credit. So nice little additional savings for you if you're willing to book now. We always suggest booking early because we want to make sure that you get the best deals and that you lock in your pricing and your resort and any discounts that are available to you. But just want to let you know before you start the show, you're going to hear us talk about a discount. That discount is still valid, but this is a new one that sort of extends those savings. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hope you get a lot out of what we talk about. And here we go. Cue the music. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dreams Unlimited Travel podcast. My name is John Magi.
And I'm Kevin Close.
And in this episode, we're going to tell you about booking and planning your 2021 Aulani vacation. Yay, Aulani. Very excited about Aulani. All right, so for those of you who are regular viewers of our show, who watch our show, we recently put up a video about planning your 2021 vacation where we talked about other destinations. We talked about Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, Viking, Adventures by Disney. But when I was reviewing it and editing it, I realized we didn't talk about Aulani at all. Kevin mentioned Hawaiian Air at the very end of that show, but we just kind of forgot about Aulani. So we're going to do this special mini-sode about planning your 2021 Aulani vacation. All right, so let's get started. As of recording this episode, we have some information about what the Hawaii Tourism Board and Hawaii, the state, is requiring for visitors. We apologize if that changes. Sometimes between the time we record a show and it goes up, information can change, but this is the information as we have it. So, as soon ago as November 24th of 2020, that was a proper sentence.
I don't think it was.
That was a perfectly...
As soon ago?
As close ago? As early ago? As early as?
My 9th grade English teacher is turning over.
As of November 24th of 2020,
Better.
Before that, Hawaii was requiring a mandatory 10-day quarantine period for anyone entering the state. So that didn't matter if you were a resident or if you were a visitor, you had to quarantine for 10 days. Now, most of us don't have an additional 10 days for our vacation to sort of sit in our hotel room. So Hawaii has come up...
Most of us don't have 10 days of vacation.
In general, right? So Hawaii has come up with an alternate plan, and that involves COVID testing. COVID testing, registering with the state so they can track you, and possibly random testing as you arrive. So this is their sort of answer to that, so you don't have to do the 10-day quarantine. Let me read a little bit about what's out there on the Hawaii State's website. The islands of Oahu, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Hawaii continue with the state's pre-travel testing program. Travelers must have their negative test results prior to departing as an alternative to Hawaii's mandatory 10-day quarantine. So if you don't follow this procedure and you don't have your test, you will have to do a quarantine, but this is what you're going to want to do. Beginning December 2nd, Kauai is temporarily pausing the participation in this testing program. So if you're going to Kauai, this information doesn't apply to you. You still have to do the 10-day period. But because we're talking about Aulani,
That's not in Kauai.
is on Oahu, so this information would apply to you.
And don't get me wrong, 10 days quarantining at Aulani sounds like an okay thing to me. But I'm guessing a lot of people don't have 10 days to add to their vacation.
That is true. So the first kind of step of all this is you have to register with the state. The state of Hawaii has got a website out there. We'll try to put a link to it in the show notes, but it's really easy to find. If you Google Hawaii COVID policy, it comes up one of the first things you get. And the idea is you have to register on their website, you have to fill out a form, and on the form you have to supply particular information like where you're going to stay, what your airline is and your flight is.
Your flight in and out.
Right. So I think that's kind of a really important tip that I want to share with everybody is don't fill this out too early because you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to have your flights nailed down because they're going to want flight numbers and
Airlines and numbers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to a new doctor. That's the kind of form you have to fill out.
All right.
Go ahead.
And you need things like what form of ID you're going to be using for your flight. So if you're going to bring your passport, you'll have to supply your passport number. Or if you're just going to use your license, it's your license number. Kevin and I both did this. We have a trip planned in July of 2021 with our flights are booked and everything is done. So we wanted to go through the process. Other than the fact that it was kind of a pain in the butt because it was collecting all this sort of disparate information. But as long as you know what you need and you have it there in front of you in advance, I thought it went pretty quick.
Yeah, it's like going to a new doctor.
Important to note that every adult in your party has to fill it out separately. I tried to do it and tried to add Kevin, and they said nope.
The only people you can add are minors.
Right. Not the people who go down and dig out the coal. People under 18. But if you are traveling with other adults, they all have to go do their own and fill out their own form.
Now I'm hearing canary in a coal mine.
Are you? So that's your first step. Your first step is you're going to want to go and you want to fill out this information. And
Your first step is to book your trip,
Nope. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
book your hotel reservation and your airfare, then go fill out the form because all of that information is required.
So after you've gone and you've filled out this form, you're going to want to plan your COVID test. Because what they want is they want a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of departure. So you want to make sure you plan that accordingly. If you do it too soon, you're going to have to do the 10-day mandatory quarantine. So make sure you get that done.
You also have to have the test that has results back quickly.
Correct. They're on their website, on the state's website, they list where they're accepting the tests from. So you can go there and you can click on that link and make sure that the person who administers the test is one of their approved testers. And this just will help with the process and expedite it so that you're not getting it from someone who's not. I looked at the list. It's every hospital system we have here in Florida was on it. And then the people who would administer the test would administer a test at a remote location like Advent Health and things like that. So It's not hard. It's not going to be
Were
something.
things like CVS and Walgreens on there?
I believe it was whoever was administering the test at those locations or overseeing it. So, like I said, Advent Health or Orlando Regional here in Central Florida, those type of places will be acceptable. But again, make sure you get it where they want you to have it from so you don't have another wrinkle involved.
And I'm guessing, I haven't seen this yet, but I'm guessing that if you've had the vaccine, that will also
Yep.
be
Again,
acceptable.
as of recording this, there's been nothing released about the vaccine. You mentioned on the other show too that there's possibly going to be a vaccine passport.
I just read about that. You're going to have, it's going to be a thing on your phone that you have a vaccine passport that would allow you to cross borders.
And then the other thing I want to point out too is that there's several different types of COVID testing, and the one they specifically want results from is the NAAT test. And that is nucleic acid amplification test. So again, you just want to make sure you're doing all of that right, because you don't want to run a risk of, oh my gosh, I've got here and then this isn't right or that's not right. The other thing too is they're asking you to attach a copy of your test results to that form you filled out on the state's website. So like I said, Kevin and I filled out that form already, but we don't have our tests yet. Once we get our tests, we will attach the results of the tests to that form. Okay, if our picture blipped a little bit right there, we apologize. Kevin kicked the stand,
I did. I'm sorry.
and so our phone did something funny, so we had to do a little
It
edit
looks like we're
there.
having an earthquake. It's not. It's just my big feet.
All right, so we had to do a quick edit. So if the picture's not exactly the way it was before, we apologize. To give you a recap of what's required to bypass quarantine in Hawaii, you have the proof of a negative test result. You can upload it on their website, or you can bring a hard physical copy by hand, and they'll accept that as well. You must have that NAAT test and an approved lab. And this applies to all passengers ages 5 and over. And again, you guys must fill out everyone must fill out that form, that Safe Travelers form from the state. Again, easy to find. We'll put a link in the show notes page, but all you have to do is a quick Google search and you'll find that information. The other thing too is they're saying is make sure you understand that you're going to have to abide by all of the regular COVID restrictions at the time of travel, which will be probably masks in the airport, masks on your flight, very possible temperature checks when you board the plane, temperature checks when you arrive in Hawaii, and things like that. And then of course your resort will do its own thing. And we're going to talk about Aulani and what they're doing for COVID. Did I leave anything out while I shuffle my papers?
Nope. You want me to keep him busy and kick the screen again?
No, I'd rather not, because that just keeps me busy.
Okay.
All right, so the good news is Disney's Aulani Resort and Spa is open now.
That is good news.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. Like we said, we have a vacation booked in July of 2021. So, it's been tough with stuff being closed. It's nice to see stuff roll out a little at a time. But of course, Aulani's got some restrictions. They're running under reduced capacity and things like that. So I just want to give you a little bit about what they want you to know, what Aulani wants you to know about traveling there under COVID. They've begun a phased reopening. Rooms, experiences, restaurants, amenities, and other offerings may be modified or unavailable. Check Aulani's website because there are a list of restaurants that are not open at this time. Ama's not open.
That's weird because it's an open air restaurant.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's strange. So things may change quickly and they may open those things up. They may close other things. So make sure you know in advance what's available and what's not. They're requiring face masks in all public locations, and they're going to have temperature checks along the way. They want you to really take advantage of express check-in and check-out. Check-in, you can check in online, or you can use the app. They're strongly suggesting you download their app, and that will help you with the check-in process. This will avoid being contacted with somebody both in the check-in and check-out phase, but also avoid you sort of bunching up in that lobby.
Or just spending too long in one location.
Yeah. I mean, we love that lobby, but it can get pretty crowded, so you want to be away from crowds. There's no valet parking. I know, I thought for sure that was good. Did you see the daggers? There's no valet parking at the resort at this time, only self-parking.
I'm not going.
And the usual parking rates do apply. The good news for someone like Kevin is that you can drop them off at the front of the resort, unload them, kick them out, barely slow down, and ask them to leave the car.
Tuck and roll.
Tuck and roll. And then you can go and park the car yourself. And again, parking in Aulani is easy. I want you to know that some transportation options are currently not available. The Aulani shopping shuttle is not running, and the Ko'olina Resort shuttle is also not running. And again, let's all keep in mind, as of right now, under current conditions, hopefully when we go, everything will be fine and up and running.
Like valet parking.
Like valet parking. Did you see the look I got? Wow. Yeah, sweating
This
a
was
little bit.
news to me.
Sweating a little bit. All right, let's talk about Aulani's cancellation and modification policies.
The fun stuff.
The fun stuff. The business end of things. You can change or cancel your Aulani Resort reservation up to 24 hours prior to arrival for stays through May 20th, 2021 without Disney imposed cancellation fees. This is a big deal. 24 hours before arrival or later, you can cancel, not be charged any fees or anything like that.
As long as you're staying prior to May 20th.
Yep. Just want to emphasize that because that could change. They could make it longer if they see fit, then maybe after that they want to do it. But as of now, May 20th and earlier, that's it. Other than that, it's under the normal cancellation policies, which is for a room only, must be canceled at least 5 days prior to your arrival to avoid any fees. And again, they want to emphasize that all of this is subject to change. Pretty good. That's good. That's sort of peace of mind if you're looking to travel soon and going to Aulani. And again, you might want to do it. So the other thing too is that they have a current offer out at Aulani. It's a room discount. It's up to 30% off select rooms. Valid January 4th, 2021 through March 11th, 2021. Short window, all things considered. I suspect if things don't change and don't pick up, they will extend this offer or offer something else. But as of right now, for arrivals through March 11th, 2021, up to 30% off. It's based on your length of stay. 30% off on select rooms for stays of 5 consecutive nights or longer. Save up to 25% for stays of 4 consecutive nights and 20% on stays of 3 consecutive nights. This must be booked by March 7th of 2021. And again, you travel before March 11th, 2021. Not valid on certain rooms, obviously, as usual, and based on availability and all this good stuff that they usually put into a thing. I want to point out that if you are looking to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel, at this time, what we usually do is we usually send all of our clients a resort refillable mug for each person in your party to use. Those refillable drink stations are not operating at this time under their COVID rules and regulations for safety. So instead of receiving a mug, we are sending you a Disney gift card equivalent to what the mug would be, which I'm figuring is about $20 per person in your party. So don't worry, you'll still get something from Dreams Unlimited Travel. You'll get a Disney gift card that will arrive before you depart your vacation, and that's in lieu of the refillable drink mug. Once Aulani goes back to having those stations open, we'll send the refillable drink mug out again. But still a nice little perk for booking through Dreams Unlimited Travel, and your agent's going to find you the best deal possible. Now we got to talk about flying to Hawaii. And
It's recommended.
And yes, otherwise you get very wet.
Can I get one of those outrigger canoes?
Swimming is really difficult. One of the things we found pretty early on when we had planned an Aulani vacation before this one in July, and we had to cancel it. But one of the things we were finding was that there was not many flights.
And they were expensive.
Yep. So, we prefer Delta. We are, fans of Delta, and we were looking into Delta, and I think you found one flight in and out.
And it wasn't the best schedule. Things are opening up. Things are getting better.
Right. So be aware of that. Be aware of the fact that you might be running into scheduling conflicts with the airlines and number of flights available.
We're also very, very excited that Hawaiian Airlines is offering a few nonstop flights to Hawaii, to Honolulu from Orlando, and from Honolulu back to Orlando. They're nonstop both ways. And when we were flying to and from Aulani, we would fly from Honolulu to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Orlando. And the most hateful part of the trip, when you're tired and ready to go home, is that 2 or 3 hours you have to sit and wait in Orlando or in Atlanta. You don't have to do that anymore.
Or worse than that, even worse than that, sitting in Atlanta, was if your flight coming in was late and you went into this panic mode because you have to get to the train and take the train and get out for the right stop. And it's always like you got in at, I don't even remember what Atlanta is, but you got in at A and you flew out of E.
And you had to go to Ohio.
Exactly.
Some other things. We are not taking the nonstop flight to Honolulu because we're going to break the trip up a little bit. We are flying from here to LA for a Backstage Magic, and then LA to Honolulu. We do have a nonstop flight from Honolulu to Orlando coming home. Very excited.
And you pointed something out during the kicking of the camera that we had to cut out, was that we have to now consider the fact that we're going to have to get tested in LA.
We are.
In California. So we're going to have to do some research about that and find a place to do it. Again, the list they had of places that would be okay were extensive. I imagine it would be any place in
I'm
Los
hoping we
Angeles.
have our vaccines by then.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know that for a fact. It's all wishful thinking.
Yeah. I think we also have to consider too that you might still have to have a test. Even though you have the vaccine, places might still require you to have a test in order to show up. So
To go to Aulani, I'm willing to do this.
yeah, I feel like there's hope. I feel like it's like, oh my God, we have a reservation on
We have
Aulani.
had a great deal of fun just planning this.
Yep.
Buying airline tickets, and they're refundable or changeable, and Aulani is refundable or changeable, and a rental car is cancelable. But it's been a lot of fun. So over the week between Christmas and New Year, this was our excitement.
It was a great deal of fun. All right, so we hope we gave you all the information you'll need to book your Aulani resort vacation in 2021. Anything else we should mention?
I can't think of anything, but if there's something specific that you are going to Hawaii for, if there's an attraction, or if there's a restaurant, or if there's a store that you are going to Honolulu for, I would make sure that you know before you go whether they're in operation and if there's any requirements.
It's a really good point. It's a really good point. We don't have to think about that for a while, but there are places we go to that we love that are just part of our Aulani vacation experience.
We have raved about a buffet at the Halakalani Hotel in downtown Honolulu, and I'm guessing that it probably will not be a buffet. So we will see what they're offering.
Yep. Good point. Excellent point. Make sure that what you're thinking about doing while you're there, things like the swap meet, other restaurants, other attractions you might be going to, just consider the fact that they might not be open.
If you're one of those people who's decided not to rent a car, the shopping shuttle John mentioned that takes you to the shopping areas is at this time not running. Even the Kaolina Resort shuttle that takes you from here to the restaurant and the golf courses and back, at this time isn't running. So a car might be
your best option.
needed.
Now, in the past, I can't speak of what's going on now because haven't been there. But in the past, it's always been easy to get a taxi. Right there at Aulani, they call up the taxis and they come up to the door if that's what you're going to look to do. But I agree with Kevin. Either rent a car when you're at the airport or rent it at the resort for a few days. You
might not need the car the whole time. There might be days that you just want to stay at the resort and eat at the resort. However, you might find that that's limited at the time you go. So make sure you're checking on these things.
Also,
your travel agent would be able to help you.
Excellent. Your Dreams Unlimited travel agent. Make sure you talk to them or get one now. Just want to also point out too, something I read, I forgot I wanted to mention, was that seating by the pool, seating on the beach is all going to be socially distanced. So there's going to be less seats. But again, there's less people at the resort because of limited capacity. So that shouldn't be a big issue for you.
And they're going to put a plexiglass bubble over the top of you and just push you up to the edge of the pool and you can slide out.
I would like that on the beach. So I don't get sand in my...
You would like the beach to be paved.
I would like the beach to be paved. I really would. That would be hot.
I know. Hot in a good way or hot in is like,
hot,
ooh, it's hot?
No, hot as in I would melt.
Okay.
All right. So again, that's it. That's what we want you to know for your visit to Disney's Aulani Resort and Spa. We hope you consider a vacation there. If you do, please contact your Dreams Unlimited travel agent. If you don't have a Dreams Unlimited travel agent, you can contact me, John.
And he will knit you one.
John at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com or Kevin at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and we will give you to an agent that we like. It's always nice.
Somebody who's been buying us gifts.
Exactly. Someone who we prefer. Now we'll give you to one of our Aulani experts for sure. All right, that'll do it for our show.
That's it?
That's it. Short one, I told you. Yeah, just one topic today. All right, thank you, Kevin, for helping me with this conversation.
You make that sound like I had a choice.
You do not have a choice. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening and watching. You do have a choice. We hope you have a great week, and we hope you have a great vacation.
Aloha.